This quote just hits the nail on the head. Think about it. You can be making great money, top of your game, but if you're still completely dependent on that next paycheck, even if it's a big one, you're basically stuck in a golden cage. You're still just selling your time.
And that right there is the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's not about working harder or longer hours. It's about a fundamental change in how you think about money, about your work, and even about risk. And in this explainer, we're going to walk through the key signs that show you're on the right path.
Okay, so first up, let's really define this trap. It's a cycle you've probably seen before. You work your tail off, you get a raise. And what happens? You upgrade your lifestyle. A slightly nicer car, maybe a bigger house, and you feel successful, for sure. But really, you're just running faster on the exact same hamster wheel for 40 years, and you never actually get closer to real financial freedom.
So how do you escape? Well, it all starts upstairs with a huge mental shift. It's about moving from what we'll call a labor mindset to an ownership mindset. This is the bedrock for everything else we're going to talk about. It changes the questions you ask yourself and totally reframes the opportunities you see.
Now check this out, because this is a really cool way to think about it. The labor mindset operates on the income layer, right? You're trading your hours for dollars, and those dollars get taxed right away. But the ownership mindset, that focuses on the asset layer. This is where your money stays invested, where it compounds and grows, usually in much more tax-friendly ways. The core question in your head literally shifts from how much does this pay me to the much more powerful question, how much of this do I own?
And that leads right to what you measure. Focusing on your salary is kind of like measuring how much water flows through a pipe. It measures activity, but it says nothing about what's actually left in the tank. Net worth, on the other hand, measures accumulation. It's what you own minus what you owe, simple as that. And once you start tracking that, your decisions change. You stop asking, can I afford this? And you start asking, will this actually move my net worth forward, or will it drag it backward?
So then, the type of reward you're chasing becomes critical. Look, a salary pays you for what you're doing right now, but it almost always has a ceiling. Equity or ownership pays you for the future. It's a bet on what something could become. Just imagine being an early employee at Airbnb. Maybe you took a smaller salary in exchange for a tiny piece of ownership. Well, that one little stake in the company's future growth, it could eventually become worth more than an entire lifetime of raises.
All right, so we've got the mindset sorted, but what do you actually do? Let's get practical and talk about the actual tools that owners use to build their wealth, and just as important, speed things up.
Okay, the number one tool is leverage. This is where you stop asking, how can I work harder? And start asking, how can my work count for more? So think of it this way. Step one is pure effort. That's you pushing a giant rock up a hill by yourself. Exhausting. Then you get leverage with tools, maybe a team of people. But the ultimate leverage, that's media and code. Things you build once that can work for you around the clock forever without you even being there.
Here's another powerful strategy, putting your assets into boxes. You see, owners almost never hold really valuable assets in their personal name. Instead, they use legal structures, like an LLC or a holding company, to create a firewall. That way, if one business or one investment goes south, it doesn't sink the whole ship. Their personal finances are protected. It's a massive safety net.
Ooh, this is one of my favorite ideas, asymmetric bets. See, most people are always looking for safe, predictable returns. But owners, they hunt for opportunities where the downside is known and small. Maybe it costs you a bit of time or a small amount of cash, but the potential upside is just massive, potentially life-changing. It's about taking smart, calculated risks that could have an enormous payoff.
And look at this. I mean, this visual just tells the whole story, doesn't it? When someone with that labor mindset gets a raise, what happens? 90% of it goes to lifestyle inflation. Nicer stuff, more spending. But for someone with an owner's mindset, the script is completely flipped. The vast majority, 90%, goes straight into buying more assets. You're upgrading your balance sheet, not just your lifestyle. One path buys you comfort for right now, the other one buys you freedom forever.
All right, so this brings us to some of the more advanced stuff. Because true, crazy acceleration happens when you start getting closer to where the money actually is. You have to understand this. Money just behaves differently depending on how close you are to the source. Most people are way out on the edges, doing the tasks. But owners, they fight to get into the rooms where capital gets allocated, where the investment deals, the acquisitions, the big partnerships get decided. Just being near that flow of money completely changes your world and what you see as possible.
And this is where your money finally stops being just a pile of cash and starts becoming an active force. You start seeing every single dollar not as something to spend, but as a seed you can plant. And you put those seeds in productive soil. We're talking index funds, rental properties, maybe a piece of a private business, and you let them grow. Your savings literally become a tiny army of workers out there building your wealth 24/7.
So, you do all this, where are you actually heading? What's the final destination? What's the end game of this whole journey from labor to ownership?
This is it. This is the finish line. This is the moment you hit what you could call financial escape velocity. It's that magical point where the income from your assets, your investments, your businesses, all that stuff, finally makes more money than you could ever earn by actively working. You've officially transitioned from being an operator inside the machine to being the owner of the machine.
And hey, because you stuck with us, here's a little bonus idea to chew on. Let's call it the cake method. It's this powerful reminder that sometimes the fastest path isn't about working harder. It's about positioning. It's about being in the right room with the right people at the right time, when the value is being handed out.
So I'll leave you with that one big question to think about. As you move forward, are you just focused on the labor of baking the cake? Or are you positioning yourself to be in the room when that cake is being served? Because honestly, the answer to that question could change everything for you.